The dark night of the soul symptoms and how to cope. The dark night of the soul is a deep and painful period of your life. It's a time when you feel hopeless, depressed, lost, disconnected, and empty. It brings you a deep sense of meaninglessness with no purpose to anything. However, the dark night of the soul is not all bad, it's also a beautiful experience that will completely transform your life. In this post, you'll learn about the purpose and symptoms of the dark night of the soul, as well as how to cope and what happens after it. What is the purpose of the dark night of the soul? When everything around you becomes real dark, it's easier to find the light within. Burt McCoy. The dark night of the soul is also known as spiritual depression and is the darkest time of your life. It's often triggered by external events which cannot be explained or have taken away the meaning that life used to have. Such as the death of a loved one, especially if it was a premature death. The symptoms of the dark night of the soul can remind us of depression, but it's not the same. The dark night of the soul has a deeper purpose. You get the opportunity to come out with a transformed state of consciousness, and it is the beginning of a spiritual awakening process. It's essentially a rebirth where your ego dies. Below are 9 dark night of the soul symptoms you might be able to relate to. 1. Your life seems meaningless. Nothing makes sense anymore, and your life has no purpose. You feel a deep sense of meaninglessness. You are no longer interested in the same things as before, as you realize the things you used to do are not actually fulfilling. 2. Your body is purging. The dark night of the soul also brings physical changes known as purging symptoms. You might feel the anxiety starting to creep up, digestive issues, sleep problems, or changes in your eating habits. 3. You're reconnecting with your inner child. You discover and acknowledge your inner child, and let yourself engage in the activities you loved to do as a child, whether that's painting, singing, playing games, or just having fun in your innocent state again. 4. You notice more synchronicities. Synchronicities start to appear more and more in your life. Pay attention to them, as they will guide you along the way. 5. You feel unhappy. You feel sad and depressed, but at the same time confused because you don't feel happy. It seems strange to think about the things you once loved, as you discover that they didn't really make you happy. It was an illusion. You are now waking up. 6. You feel lost. You feel lost, alone, and stuck in life. All sense of direction is gone. You need to rethink everything you once thought to be true. You may want to change your life completely, but do not know how to do it. A lot of questions will come up about who you are and what your purpose in life is. 7. You start to incorporate healthy habits. During the dark night of the soul, you'll start to rethink your habits and their consequences. You want to improve yourself and begin researching how you can do it. You might change your diet and sleeping habits, and begin meditating or exercising. 8. You get in touch with your spiritual side. You are getting pulled towards the spiritual path as the new is pushing through the old. Learning and growing become important as you wish to transform your consciousness. Spirituality gives you answers and comfort. It helps you discover a new purpose and gets you through the toughest moments. 9. You start to remember. Old repressed memories from your childhood start to come back to you. These are the memories that have been ignored for too long and need healing. If you had a traumatic childhood, your past memories will hit you hard as you are faced with new truths and must confront your traumas. By doing inner child work, you can begin healing. Check out this post to learn how. What to do if you're experiencing a dark night of the soul. If you are going through the dark night of the soul, there are several things you can do to help yourself. First of all, you must accept what you are feeling. The more you resist it, the more suffering you will get in return. Accept that you are not okay right now, and remember that this is happening for a reason. Everything is playing out just as it's supposed to. Trust the process. It's important to rest a lot and be kind to yourself during this dark time. You'll probably want to spend most of the time alone. Practice self-care and self-love. Find enjoyment in the smaller things in life. Like spending time in nature, creating art, or reading. You might find an interest in the activities you used to do as a child, and have fun re-exploring them. The dark night of the soul is a time for healing. It's a time when you must face your darkest demons. You must look within yourself for answers and listen to your inner spiritual guidance, since it will help guide you. The dark night of the soul can last for weeks, months, or years, which entirely depends on each person. You must heal before the dark night of the soul is over. Don't try to rush through the process. Just be in the present and embrace it. What happens after the dark night of the soul? After going through the darkest times of your life, everything will have changed for you. Coming out of the dark night of the soul brings you a transformation of consciousness, which will make you understand why you had to go through this awful time. Because it will all be worth it, your soul will awaken, your life will have purpose again, and you will feel free, happy, and at peace. If you enjoyed this post on the dark night of the soul symptoms and how to cope, I would be very grateful if you shared it on Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest. Thank you.